call this meeting to order. It looks like it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to welcome council here tonight, as well as staff and those present in the gallery and anybody online. For remarks tonight, the only thing I could come up with, because our president of Blue Water Recycling is here, trash talk is fine as long as it ends up in the recycling bin. So land acknowledgement, we would like to acknowledge that the land we stand upon today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Neutral peoples. I need a confirmation of the agenda. Anybody care to make that motion? Councillor Fisher and Councillor Morrison. That the agenda for the regular meeting of council dated May 26, 2026 be adopted as circulated. All those in favor? That would be carried. Anybody with declaration of pecuniary interest now, declare it now, or if it comes up later on in the agenda, please let us know. Seeing none, we'll move along to the minutes of the previous meeting held on May 12th, I guess it would be. You had a chance to look at that. Comments or questions? Councillor Chartrand, you want to move that, please? Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Deal. Comments or questions from the minutes? All those in favor? That would be carried. Thank you very much. Next, we're down to the consent agenda. You have a number of items on there. Is there anybody wishing to remove anything? 6 point, Councillor Fisher.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Item 6.4, please.
6.4.
I'm not happy with the freedom of information plan that the government has. I think it should be wide open all the time instead of being not being able to see what ministers and the premier are doing. So I would hope someone would second me and
You
agree with that.
Making that motion, are you? Yes, thank you. Need a seconder? Anybody wish it? Councillor Morrison. Any other comments on that? All those in favor to support 6.4? That is carried. Anything else on the consent agenda? Councillor Willoughby.
6.3, I guess I can go again this year.
Okay, that's to the
Deer County Prize.
perfect. No, that's great. Thank you very much. Do we need a motion for that? Administration? Or
No, we've never had a
Good?
motion in the past. We'll just let them know that Councillor will be in attendance.
Thank you, Gloria. Any other ones that you wish to withdraw from that to talk about? If not, can I have a motion to accept 6.1 minus through minus 6.3 and 6.4 down to 6.9. That's not too confusing. Councillor Deal, you make that motion. Need a seconder? Councillor Ellis. Any more comments or questions on consent agenda? All those in favor? That would be carried. Thank you very much. Now we're down to public meetings, hearings, and delegation. 7.1, Michelle Courtney. Welcome.
Stand up here.
You certainly can.
Okay, so I'm Michelle Corky. I'm the president and CEO of Blue Water Recycling Association. And I appreciate you all inviting me to be here today. So just to kind of start off here on our presentation, I just wanted to give you a brief overview on who we are and who we service. So go to the next slide. So this is who we service. So it's 4 counties: Lambton, Middlesex, Huron, and Perth. And it's basically all municipalities within an hour of our facility in Huron Park. So it's a total of 22 municipalities. And next slide. So what does that mean by the numbers? By the numbers, we service 188,000 people. That's 97,000 households. We manage about 56,000 tons of material, which amounts to $24 million in revenue, $20 million in assets, and we employ 83 employees. Now for membership benefits, sorry, next slide. So what is the benefits to you? So we're a not-for-profit organization that functions like a municipal cooperative. So we have a board of directors of 8 members, which Alvin sits on. And of those 8 members, it's 2 members from each of the counties that we serve. And so the board is there to set the strategic direction, and then they leave the operations up to myself and my staff, the daily operation. So what that means is for you, is that you have a full service waste management department that services you hands-free while your municipal workers can focus on the more equally important services. Now, we don't operate our own, a landfill, and that's by design, so we can focus on diverting material and not disposing of it. So now on to the blue box transition. So the next slide shows a timeline of the blue box transition. So really for us, it started back in 2021. The 2021 and 2022 focused on the reporting deadlines. And then in April 1st of 2024, all our municipalities transitioned to extended producer responsibility. On June 4th of last year, there was proposed amendments to the regulation. On October 1st, we received a letter from the minister about ICNI collection, which I'll go over a little bit in detail later. And then on January 1st of 2026, the entire province transitioned to full extended producer responsibility. So operationally for our residents, what did this look like? So I would say the average resident that's just putting their waste and their recycling out as of April 1st, 2024, when we transitioned to extended producer responsibility, didn't know there was any difference. It was the same frequency, the same containers they put out. We maintained their point of contact, so they didn't really know a transition even happened. For you as a municipality, financially, as of April 1st, 2024, 100% of the residential recycling fell off your books. Sorry, switch to the next slide. Yes. So in actuality, that meant about 95% of the blue box cost fell off, as you were still responsible for the ICNI portion of the recycling. There was no impact on your waste co-collection or disposal agreements, as we maintained the recycling contract with the producers, and so we were still co-collecting the material. So in 2025, there were some key amendments that happened. The first one being extended recovery time. So when the amendment or the regulation was brought in, the producers were supposed to have increased targets to recover the recycling material until January 1st, 2026. When the amendment came in September 4th of 2025, they extended those recovery targets, deferring any increased targets until 2032. As well with that, they phased in the flexible plastics. So again, flexible plastics was supposed to have an increased recovery target as of January 1st, 2026. And instead they did graduated targets starting at 10% in 2026 and not getting up to 25% until 2032. Public spaces, part of the regulation was wherever the municipality was receiving waste collection in public spaces. So whether that be your downtown core or your ball diamonds or arenas, wherever there was waste collection, the producers were responsible for collecting recycling as well. With the amendment, they decreased any extended public spaces. So the producers were only required to collect blue box material where it was already being done prior to 2025. And then the last one was energy recovery. So they can meet 15% of their recovery target through energy from waste, so incineration. Now, jumping forward to January 1st of 2026, we had the full extended producer responsibility. So what that meant is across the province, municipalities were no longer responsible for the blue box program. There was a new standard box of materials, so no matter where you are in Ontario, you can recycle the same material, whether you're Toronto, whether you're in Seaport. And that for us, that box was an expanded box of materials from what we were previously collecting in 2025. And then the point of the whole regulation was to drive producers to create recyclable material, because now they're financially responsible for ensuring that it's being recycled at the end. So when I'm talking about residential recycling, per the regulation, it means eligible sources. So what are eligible sources? Eligible sources are single-family homes, seasonal dwellings, multi-unit residential buildings that were established prior to 2025, public and private schools, retirement and long-term care homes, and specified public spaces, the ones that were collected prior to 2025. When I talk about ICNI properties, what are we talking about? So by definition, ICNI is your industrial, commercial, and institutional properties. These are explicitly excluded from the blue box regulation, which meant they could be no longer collected with the extended producer responsibility, which is why we brought in the red lid routes in January 1st of 2026. So what are the ineligible sources? So they are your municipal buildings and facilities, your commercial farms, your not-for-profit organizations, your campgrounds and trailer parks, industrial and commercial properties, and your places of worship. Now, where it gets really tricky is your mixed sources. So an example like this, where you have the businesses below and residents above. As per the regulation, the residents above are to have blue wheelie bin with the wheelie bins with the blue lids. Below, the commercial properties are supposed to have red lid recycling bins. And so we have to, even though they're on the same street, they put the bins at the same spot, we have to send a separate truck to collect the red lids versus the blue lid. They're not allowed to commingle the same. Another example of this is this next, where you have a street where you have lots of residential homes, but then you have one commercial property or one or two where they've been converted into a commercial property. But the same thing, or same theory states that you need a red lid recycling bin in our commercial truck, in the business, and the blue lids in the homes. So one question we have in regards to the ICNI recycling is why did the notification come so late? And so just as we were finalizing our plan for 2026, on June 4th of 2025, the Ontario government proposed amendments to the Blue Box regulation, including that they would require the pros to make an offer to co-collect the commercial and recycling collection together. So at that point, we immediately started lobbying to the provincial and local governments, explaining the inefficiency of a segregated system in hopes that they would finalize the amendment. Now, it took them 4 months, but October 1st of 2025, the Minister of the Environment sent out a letter stating that the pros will not voluntarily continue to offer the service to municipalities, even those that were willing to do so as they had done, were willing to pay to do so as they had in during transition. They stated that there was challenges with providing small IC&I collection that would make it impractical and affordable for most municipalities and potentially disruptive for the residential collection that they were running by the pros. So that gave us 3 months from October to December to plan and implement the IC&I collection. So we started with completing the new routes. We had to procure the new red lid, hire drivers to do those routes, create the promotion and education material, and then finally send our team out to change the lids and provide education to the commercial properties, which we did at the end of November, starting December. So some key points for the IC&I is just that all their other services remained unchanged. So the garbage collection still is collected with the residential collection on the same day. It's only the recycling that has changed. The quality still matters. So all the IC&I recycling is still processed at our plant in Huron Park. And so it still follows the acceptables list that was prior to December 2025. And in order to keep our employees and our employees safe and our costs down, it's important to have only the acceptable material and equipment. And then there is some exemptions that apply to the IC&I properties, like schools and not-for-profit long-term care homes. They still remain eligible for recycling. They have received it prior to December 2025. So where are we today? So for 2026, BRA maintained the cost of collecting IC&I properties at the 2025 rate with a small IC&I rate increase to make it $71.40. However, we're currently absorbing a significant operational cost due to the inefficiencies of the IC&I routes, long distance travel with very little tonnage that we collect. So in March, we informed municipalities that the cost of collecting IC&I bins would increase to $160 per bin. And that would be effective as of January 1st, 2027. We've asked, when we provided this cost projection, we requested a decision on how to proceed for the municipalities by the end of June 2026. And really the municipalities have 3 primary options. So you can continue with your current arrangement and absorb the increase in cost to the property. You can increase the charge to the commercial properties somewhere between what you're doing now of $0 to our $160 per bit. Or you could decide to discontinue IC&I collection altogether. We would recommend option 2, directly charging the commercial properties for the recycling costs. We believe residential user fees should not subsidize commercial recycling expenses, and that commercial properties should be charged accordingly. This approach will incentivize commercial properties to accurately assess their bin requirements and consider more cost-effective solutions, such as recycling dumpsters, depending on their material quantity. And then our rationale for June 2020 or for June of 2026 is to align with the upcoming municipal elections, as well as to give us as Blue Water some time. If you decide to discontinue recycling altogether, it allows us to reach out to those commercial residents, as well as it gives us time to discuss with commercial residents who would benefit from a dumpster versus a bin, if they would like to do that and give us time to procure the dumpsters in time for January. I have just a little bit on disposal, but just any questions on the ICNI before I go on?
Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you very much for coming, Ms. Courtney. It's a good explanation so far.
Good.
Any idea what it would cost Huron East to continue doing the ICI, your number 2 idea? Instead of passing it on to the commercial businesses, we continue to do it ourselves, or however we're doing it. Any idea what that might cost?
So if you, as the municipality, absorb it, right now you're being charged for 209 bins, which makes it about $15,000, $14,922.60. So if you were to absorb all that cost, right now, so we don't update our bin counts until January, but as of January, you'd be charged for the amount of commercial bins that you have. So I checked, and as of right now, you have 266 commercial bins out there.
And that's
So
all of Huron East, Ms. Courtney?
All of Huron East, yeah.
Okay.
So then at 160, that would be about 42, almost 43,000, 42,560. So it would be an increase of $27,637.47.
That's 44,000 per annum.
42.
42.
Yeah.
Okay, 42. So about plus $800 a week. Roughly. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Sharkar.
Yes, thank you. So any new homes built after 2025, are they covered?
As long as they're not a multi-res. So any multi-residential building, that's a building of 6 or more units, that's like a high-rise building, is not covered by the producers. They will get to register in 2031. I don't know yet what the registration will look like because they haven't let us know. But otherwise they would be part of the ICI core, the red light was
Residential home,
and
single dwellings
covered.
are covered.
Yeah.
And anybody who wants to opt out of the ICI can.
That would be a municipal decision, but as of right now, yeah.
When you say municipal, what about individual that doesn't want to do it?
I mean, if you as a municipality allow them to opt out, then they could opt out. Right now, there's nothing forcing a commercial resident or property to have a recycling bin. So you guess they can opt out.
So try to understand the whole process. So 1 week they come and they empty my blue bin. Following week, the truck comes and they empty the red bin. They all go to the same building and they all sorted in the same place.
So as of January 1st, 2026, we don't process residential anymore. So the residential
Where do they go?
comes to us, it goes to Cambridge. Yeah, so
Just ship it there.
we receive it and we have a compactor. We load it on a 53-foot trailer and ship it to a facility that's owned by Waste Management that the producers have chosen to process. But we continue to process your residential.
Yet it's the same identical recycling materials and old bins.
Yeah, you bought an Amazon box at home versus at work, it's still an Amazon box. Yeah. But that was the regulation by the government.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions right now? Councillor Stefan.
So just to permit, the first year is free, right? We absorb all the costs, the red bins are in there now. The commercial users have the service, they just are paying for it.
Correct.
So ultimately, they have opted in.
And really, you've been paying for it since April 1st of 2024. Before it was worked into our
Correct.
price, but you've been paying for it since April 1st. They haven't had any user fees for weeks, correct?
And ultimately, the increased cost is about $100 per year.
Correct.
Based on what we have. For it.
Any other questions at this point here? If not, we'll have to show for you.
So on to disposal. I think we've all heard that there's a disposal situation in Ontario with having only approximately 11 years left in all of our landfills. So if you look at our local disposal, prior to 2017, go to the next slide, please. Thank you. We had 24 local landfills that we could use for disposal. Looking forward into 2024, we're now down to 15. So even locally, you can see that landfills are closing and we're having an issue with this territory. So what is a possibility to help with diverting material to the landfill? Well, an option is organic collection. So we are able to provide organic collection whenever a municipality is interested in doing so. So based on a local waste composition audit that we had done, if you go to the next slide, please. About 40% of the entire waste stream is compostable material. So that's actually the largest waste stream, more than the recycling and the waste. So what we have done is we have partnered with Try Recycling. We can do the hauling of the material, but they can do the processing. So if you go to the next slide, it shows what the system looks like at Try Recycling, if you haven't been there. So they use a flexible in-vessel system, and essentially they take the compostable material, they make these windrows of the material, they cover it with a Gore-Tex jacket and pump it with heat and oxygen. And then at the end of the day, the material is a good soil that they actually put in a Scots bag. And one of the incentives that they provide to municipalities, if you're interested in doing this, is that they could provide the municipality with 1 truckload of the material to give back to the resident, to see like the full circle. Your garbage became this quality soil that you can now put in your flower beds or on your garden. So another reason why we like or have chosen to partner with Try Recycling is the type of waste that is available. So if you go to the next slide, it shows it's not just the food waste that we have in some of the organic programs, but it's also your yard trimmings and leaf and yard waste and soiled paper as well. And so then a typical frequency pattern that we would recommend if you were to consider organic material is here. So the organics is the stinky factor. It's the material you're going to want to get rid of every week. So we would recommend having the organic collection weekly and then alternating between waste and recycling. And so then so week 1 would look like organics and waste, week 2 organics and recycling, week 3 organics and waste, and so forth, so on. My next slide is a video. I'm hoping it works. Sometimes I have issues with anybody that's video here, but this would be the type of thing.
Hauler comes by, picks it up, dumps it, puts it back down, away it goes. Well, let's do that. There's somebody hits it with a car. No, only when the homeowner completes it. Or the hauler.
So this would be the type of bin. It would still look like our normal bin. It would be the medium size that we would recommend, so you can fit leaf and yard waste as well as food waste in it. But it would have the locking lid, so it would allow or to keep your live animals out of it. It wouldn't have a key like it shows here. It's just a knob, so you can't lose it. But it would automatically be locked. You turn the knob to open it, and it's closed. It's locked. You put it out for production day. It's locked, but our trucks are able to because it's got a magnetic system inside. It'll unlock when our truck's lifted. And that's all I.
Any other questions from council? Councilor Fisher.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Stormy, this green bins, who is using them right now and how well?
So we don't have any municipalities that use us for organics yet. The only one that we collect recycling for that does it is Waste Management, or is Goderich, but they use Waste Management. So we don't have anybody yet. Everyone's kind of in talks. I have Guthrie Caradoc and Middlesex Center right now that are in talks about it. But no one has decided yet. I think they wanted to see the blue box costs fall off and then see where this approached before they wanted to take any other cost. A lot of municipalities can do it similar to what the cost is of blue box falling off, so they can do it without increasing user fees.
Even weekly?
Yeah. No, I'd have to look at you guys individually because you have your own landfill for part of the municipality, which then would make it more expensive because now you have to pay for processing, but it is saving that capacity in your landfill. For municipalities that don't have their own landfill, this is definitely cost effective.
Overall, with this new system by the provincial government, are we better off or worse off environmentally? You're not being paid.
My worry is that commercial properties will now decide not to recycle and to put their material in.
So it's a nice way of saying we're sorry. Thank you, Ms. Courtney.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Michelle, for coming. I thought it was worthwhile for the rest of the council to hear, especially with an election coming up and some of the things you explained tonight. It's kind of hard to get your head around. I think Councillor Chartrand, was approaching that too. How ICI can be dumped in the same building, it's residential, but yet Blue Water has to recycle the ICI and the other stuff gets loaded on and gone to, on the green route, so.
We're so safe that the material can't even touch, so we had to create a wall in our tipping floor. But the ICI goes on one side of the residential, even though it's like boxes and boxes and boxes. Yeah.
It's, and it's unfortunate, I think some of the producers have lobbied the government to bring the target levels down. We talked at our last meeting in Blue Water, we talked about tires down there, I think as well. And, and the same thing happened there. I think they were at 80% recycle on tires or recovery on tires, but that's down to 60% now. So there's tires laying all over the place too. So that's nothing to do with us, but it's part of that. So
It's part of the whole year.
that's correct. Yes. So any other questions in for Michelle before we let her go? Like it's good. Thanks again, Michelle. Have a good night. All right, we're down to 7.2 delegation from the Optimist Club of Seaforth. Bob Costello on here and friends. Welcome, Bob.
So I guess I should start by apologizing that I skipped a step on the full process. But the reason we went ahead and done it is because they had 220 kids sign up for Minor Ball this year. And we need to free up and meet more diamond time.
I see.
And we have 22 men's teams in this town. They want to start playing back here instead of Cromery and all over the place. And then I was approached by Clinton. They have 230 kids that played hardball up there, and they want to know if there was diamond time here in Seaport. So as per my conversation with Megan, I kind of skipped a step come see you guys. But Derek Van Drill is not allowed to dig unless there's locates done, which he's already done himself. As far as the dog park goes, they have 165 feet. Something like 165 feet. So where the snow fence is now, it's going to be moved toward the ball diamond another 10 feet. Oh, probably 25 or 25. Okay. 25. So there's lots of room for them down there. And we're trying to accommodate under 17. So 2 guys per minor ball here. And I don't know the numbers on under 17, but you can ask them. But we're just trying to create more diamond time.
Sure.
And there won't be any power going to it.
Okay.
It's just daytime.
Okay.
And we've communicated with Lavis's for track. Yes. For the aggregate. Yes. And then Mr. Van Drill's doing all the contracting on him, but we have to pay for the dump truck, so it's not a big deal.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's where we're at.
Okay.
Our biggest expense is going to be the fencing. So we're going down first baseline, third baseline, and making a circle in the back, like a ball diamond.
Okay.
But that cost is gonna be $27,000, so
Yeah.
that's the biggest cost we got coming out of this thing.
Right.
But minor ball seems to be on board. We were gonna have a fundraiser in August at the Agriplex. I've already looked into all that. And yeah, guess I just need you guys to carry on. So
Bob, if I may, how is the dog park? Is it well used? Too?
there's, I did numbers with a guy today. He said there's 5, 6, well, the Huskies are down there. How many Huskies in the morning? Three Huskies in the morning. There's a group that goes down at night with, well, you're down there, Brenda. You know the dog.
There's dogs in and out all day long.
Good. So it is being well used then?
Oh, yeah.
This is what I was looking for, so.
But the issue that I'm having with it is we have $2,000. We pay $2,000 a year for insurance on that. We pay to cut the grass. They don't even clean up their own mess. So we remove the dog feces. And then, yeah, so I'm a little bitter about the plan from.
Questions from council? Councilor Chartrand.
No, matter of fact, when we moved here in 2005, the very first service group that my wife and I joined was the Optimist Club. And you guys do a great job with youth. We can't, we can't find enough stuff for youth to do. This is a great project.
Just keeps them under
And I appreciate the fact that you were coming to council now, recognizing that you skipped the steps. So,
Sorry, Megan, when Megan called me, I was up north fishing and I'm like, oh my God, sorry.
keep up the good work because you do a good job for the community and the kids.
Thank
Any other questions? Councilor Stafford, I think that is.
Yeah, I think this is more for staff and this is. Did we miss a step? I don't know. We have a report in here. So the Optimists come to us or a service club come to us with the recommendation on them we own. I'm not, and then I just wonder why I'm making a decision on this unless staff are concerned.
It's in the lease agreement with the Optimist Club that any major projects gets council approval because it is municipal land. The Optimist does maintain it. They do all the work for it, but it is part of that large lease plan because it's municipal. So any changes would just need council approval. So it's
Right.
similar to when the dog park was built. It was a council decision to allow that as well.
I agree, but there's a report on here earlier.
Yes.
We have Optimist talked to Megan or Lisa, community service. That comes back to us as a recommendation to council, then I'm just maybe confused, because when do people come?
So there was just a miscommunication, I believe, when we were originally presented with a concept. So it was an idea. And I think there was just a miscommunication about missing the step of coming to council to get the final approvals. But that's why we just want to cover our basis, make sure that everybody's on the same page, why they've come as a delegation tonight. And we've also written the staff report, so a decision can still be made tonight as well.
Apparently, they built Sabo, that's still declared floodplain, but we are allowed to build, but I think that's an issue. No, we're not having an issue with it.
Okay, all good.
I have done my homework, but I just skipped you guys.
Councilor Fisher.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Bob, help me with some geography. Where's home plate going to be, on the south end?
Yes, it's going to be on the, what is the name of that street? Sill Street? Because we want to keep the kids off the highway.
Yeah.
So it's going to be in that corner where the actual gate was to get in there.
So southwest corner.
Yeah.
Southwest corner.
Yeah. The back.
So there's not to be any issues with these. These kids are hitting softballs or baseballs?
Softballs, right?
So there's not gonna be any issue of balls going onto the
Oh, heavens no.
dog park or whatever. It's gonna be well fenced.
Yeah, there's gonna be a fence beyond the home run fence to
Okay.
separate the two properties.
Good. You got 30 kids at a ball game, you got 50 grandparents, where are they gonna park?
All of them down Sill Street. What do they do now? They all park on Boulevard, all
Yeah.
the way down.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I did that 40 years ago with my guys
Yeah.
for soccer, so I just wondered. if it was
All right,
the same.
well, our idea was the safety of the kids. We're gonna try and keep them off the highway, so we're
Yeah.
going to use Sill Street and keep them back there.
Oh, definitely, yeah, I totally understand that, it's just I'm wondering about parking.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from council?
Thank you.
If not, we'll be dealing with this later on. Thank you very much, Bob, for the
All right, thank you.
presentation, and thank you for answering all our questions.
Wait to hear from you or is it your?
I think she'll get back to you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. You can stick around if you wish, or I'm sure you have better things to do, but.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you very much for coming.
Oh, yeah, skip.
All right, we're on the agenda. We're down to 7.3, public meeting. And B05 2026. That is what we have to do a committee of adjustment on that. do we?
Yes. Yeah, so.
So we have to adjourn the meeting, do we?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So we need a mover and a seconder. We're going to adjourn the meeting, move into that. Councillor Stefan, Councillor Morrison, I think it's in your hand up. That the council of the municipality of Huron East adjourn the regular meeting of council at 6:34 p.m. to go into a public hearing and committee of adjustment to discuss the following: minor variance application MD05 2026 for concession 9. Huron Road Survey, Lot 6, Tucker Smith North. All those in favor? That is carried. Ben, how are you doing?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much. It's great to be back. You guys are keeping me nice and busy, so it's been a fun time. Okay, so tonight we have a few planning applications. The first one being this minor variance MV 05 of 2026. The owner of the property is John Van Ness and the applicant is Steve and Justine. Sorry, I shouldn't say Justin, I should say Justine. Properties concession 9 in Tucker Smith. There's no municipal address currently, but you'll see the property that I'm talking about in a couple of slides here. Next slide, please. Okay, so the property is right here on Hensel Road. And the green circle on there shows the proposed minimum distance separation setback, which is approximately 400. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Okay, so yes, the green circle there is a reduced MTS2 setback to the neighboring residence, which is the notched out property, which was previously severed a long time ago. And so the required distance for the approximate 2,000 head hog barn is 555 meters. And the proposed distance is 475. So it's about a 13% reduction in order to facilitate the construction of the new hog barn, approximately in the general location as to where the red square is, which is at the very sort of southeast end of the property abutting Hensel Road. Next slide, please. So as mentioned, there is that setback distance relief from the 555 to the 475. There's also a couple other setbacks that are requested to be changed, and those are the MDS2 setback to the rear or side lot line. So the rear lot line is considered the shortest lot line of the property. And so we're proposing to reduce this required setback from 30 meters to 15. And also to reduce the required setback in the zoning bylaw, which is the 30 meters down to the 15. And the reason for this is that it will create a larger buffer from the proposed hog barn to the house that is creating the conflict, quote unquote. The applicant has agreed to this and said that it would be beneficial to them as well. There's no concerns from a biosecurity perspective. They're still able to maintain the barn within that 15-meter setback, and they're quite happy to reduce that in order to ensure that the house up to the north there still has an appropriate setback. Next slide is perfect. Thank you. So this is the proposed site plan that is provided by the applicant. It's kind of hard to see in this context, but they are working with Matt Runge and Associates to design the barn and the site here. And so this is the general location and layout of the barn that's being proposed. I should also note that the applicant has provided that the reason for this barn, the reason for the required MDS setback is they are using a new technology within the barn to increase their biosecurity outcomes, as well as maintaining a cleaner and healthier barn. So the technology that is being used here is like state of the art in the sense that it will reduce the general odor of your typical hog barn and also ensure that biosecurity outcomes are much better than your standard barn. Next slide, please. So in reviewing the application, it meets all the policy criteria and there's no concern from a policy perspective. Next slide. No comments or concerns have been raised from staff members or public or agencies.
All of that to say this is a public hearing, so if there are comments that come up tonight, those should be considered in council's discussion. Next slide. So with all of that to say, there are no outstanding concerns. We have not received any correspondence to date. And based on the new technologies of the barn and the benefits, we would recommend that this application be approved. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. Any questions from council? Councillor Chartrand.
Thank you. So when they reduced the side yard and rear yard, did that improve the overall MDS?
It improves the MDS from the house that is creating the conflict. So the house that is requiring this variance application to be made is, has a larger setback distance. If that house had never been severed and was part of the farm parcel, we wouldn't be here tonight. They would meet MDS and not have any issues. Unless they still wanted to reduce to that lot line, but there would be no real need to, from a planning
But
perspective.
it improved the whole situation by moving those side yards.
I'd say it improves the situation to that house. Yeah, and then also, guess I would say, like, in some cases, a 30-meter setback can be a little bit awkward as far as how many passes of the combine, et cetera. So keeping things sort of tighter to that lot line in this sense, I think makes sense. The other thing, the reason why it works here is that the building cluster for the farm property that we are reducing that setback to is way at the front of the farm, whereas this is way at the rear of the farm. It would be a different story, obviously, if that was a different situation.
Okay, thanks for that explanation.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, is there any questions or comments from members of the public? Right.
Yes. I'm Steve Foreman, and I also want to say is first that those schools that's on that property, we're spreading manure on that farm now with one of our elders, sow burns. So, yeah, we're gonna spread manure on this proposed operation. It will stay within our rules, but I'm just saying we're spreading out there now all around that. I just,
Good. All right, if there are no other questions or concerns, none, I will need a move and a seconder to adopt this. Councillor Rath and Councillor Fisher. The council has held a public meeting pursuant to section 45 of the Planning Act 1990 with respect to minor variance application CD 05 2026 and moved to permit the following variance from bylaw 52/2006. One, reduce the required MSD2 setback to the neighboring residence from 555 meters down to 475 meters. Two, reduce the required MSD2 setback to the rear side lot line from 30 meters down to 15. Reduce the required, number three is reduce the required rear side yard setback in the AG1 zone from 30 meters down to 15, and that the variance approved be valid for a period of 18 months from the date of the committee's decision. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jen. And I need a move and a seconder to move out of the Committee of Adjustment. Councillor Deal, Councillor Willoughby. Let the Committee of Adjustment be adjourned at 6:44 p.m. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Next, we're down to 8.1, planning report, consent application C24 2026. That motion first.
Jen usually gives her presentation and then we
Thank you.
can discuss.
Okay, Jen, sorry about that.
All right, no, that's all good. Okay, so yes, we have consent application C24 of 2026. The owner applicant is Joe DeCroon, and Baker Planning Group was the applicant on here. This is a property that, as soon as you see, I'm sure you will all be familiar with, as this is a follow-up from the rezoning that they had done previously. Next slide, please. So yeah, here are the subject lands, proposing to sever that small portion along the highway there. Retained lands would continue to be used for agricultural use. Next slide. So the approximate size of the parcel to be severed is 3.2 acres. And it is essentially a commercial lot that will be used for self-storage. The site for the retained lands is prime ag, and then the portion that is being severed is part of the settlement area boundary. The C3-5 zoning is the zoning that you would have just recently approved, and this proposal aligns with that zoning. Next slide. Again, here's a proposed severance sketch. There's no staff concerns, no MTO concerns, anything like that. The little notch out in the severed parcel is to accommodate an entrance far enough from the MTO corridor that MTO is happy with, without taking out more farmland from production. Next slide. It meets all the policy. I'm not going to go through all of this, but there's no concern from a policy perspective. Next slide. Recommendation is for approval with the standard list of conditions. There is a condition in there that they do deal with site plan control, but that property is already subject to site plan control, and they are working on that right now as we're processing this application. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jen on this application? Seeing none, anybody want to make a motion? Move it forward, Councillor Stefan and Councillor Dalton. That the council has no objection to the consent application C-24/2026, provided the conditions as outlined in the planning report are met. All those in favor? That will be carried. Thank you very much. And 8.2, then you're up again.
Thank you. Okay, so now we have consent C-29 of 2026. Again, another hopefully straightforward one. It's the Jansen family, and McCurcher's office is the applicant on this one. It's 42099 Huron Road. Next slide, please. So this application is for a surplus farmhouse severance. The property outlined in orange, right abutting Huron Road, is proposed to be severed. It's approximately 2.7 acres in size. And then the retained lands are approximately 49.5 acres. All good. And sorry, the severed parcel contains a house shed, an old barn used for storage, and some silos. Next slide, please. There are no concerns, again, from a policy perspective. It is noted that they do farm the 50 acres as well to the south of the railway lands, which are technically a separate parcel. But they're not concerned about access or anything like that, because they're going to continue to farm the entire 100 acres as one piece. Next slide. So here's a close-up of the severed parcel that they are currently proposing to sever. I did ask the question of any easements or anything like that for access onto the farmland, and they're not concerned at this point, and there's no concerns from county highways either. Here's their beautiful severance sketch. Again, no real concerns. Next slide. It does meet all of criteria, and there's no concern from a policy perspective. Next slide, please. So yeah, it's consistent with everything. No concerns have been raised and recommended to be approved under our standard surplus farmhouse severance criteria. And then the list of conditions are our standard surplus farmhouse severance conditions. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jen on this application? I just have one, Jen, if I may.
Yes.
So does it speak to removing the barns or silos at all?
It does not. No, there's no conditions to do that. My understanding is that the barns are being used for personal use and will continue. But no, there's no condition to have those.
Yeah, just wondered about livestock. That's all. But
Yeah.
storage. I need a motion Somebody give the second, Councillor Chartrand and Councillor Willoughby. As the council has no objections to consent applications C 29, 2026, provided the conditions as outlined in the planning report are met. Comments or questions? All those in favor of that? That will be carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you back again.
Thank you.
I guess we're down to municipal drains. Drain 2608. Need a mover and a seconder to move that forward. Councillor Deal, Councillor Stepler. Now the report number drains 2608 regarding the Smith municipal drain be received for information, and the council proceed with the third and final reading of the provisional bylaw for the Smith municipal drain. Comments or questions? All those in favor of that? That would be carried. Thank you very much. So we're down to reports and recommendations of municipal officers, and the first one is 2611 from the clerk.
So the Seaforth Optimist Park, just as Mr. Costello had mentioned, we did have a conversation earlier in the year about this and, you know, provided the information he needed in order to move forward. So my report there is just kind of reiterating the information that has been provided to me regarding their design and how they are deciding to proceed with the costing of it. At this time, they're not asking us for any funds. They are taking care of everything. And as you heard, the fundraising for their fence will be their next big investment. Any other questions?
Questions from council? Councillor Stepler.
So just confirmation, I did hear fence 27,000. Are we expecting a $32,500 partnership?
I haven't heard that yet.
So when they do capital work, it's part of the agreement. That's where the 50-50 cost share comes in. They didn't ask for any cost sharing with this. So we're in a, if they're planning it for 27, then definitely we can have those conversations, but we're unsure at this point if there's going to be a expectation. There hasn't been any requests for that.
Just as we go back through these things, it's every Sunday where things were done. Then ask for after the fact, but I'll make sure we're on top of things.
Yeah.
I fully support what they're trying to do here because it's an affordable recreation activity for kids. There's a demand there for it, so I think it's a great idea. Further to what Councillor Fisher commented on is the parking. Right now, we've got a ball field, a playground, and a dog park, and people have to park on the boulevard. And then you're adding a recreation amenity that would have lots of people, given their age. You're going to have lots of families, grandparents attending that. And I just think parking is going to get to be a real challenge if you have four things happening, 4 areas of the park being utilized. I think the surrounding community will have some concerns around parking.
Any other questions or comments? Sir Fisher.
To Jeff's comments there, I'm trying to remember, I think is Lloyd Eisler, which is the south side, is that no parking? And then only on one side of Sill Street? Can somebody help me out with that?
One side is Slow Street and then our Bradford, when they play current baseball now, they park east and west on Bradford Street, all the way down to my corner at
Both sides or just one side?
just one side.
Just one side, yeah.
And then when you go on Sill Street from the corner of Bradford heading south, there's parking there all along. It's a huge big boulevard from the curb to the fence.
Yeah, I remember that from.
And then they also have the ability on Kippen Road, on the east side of Kippen Road where it's paved off the road. That's all paved.
Yeah, well, I never thought of that. Okay. Yeah.
They park all along there too. There's lots of parking. It's just, will it all happen all at once? To Jeff's concern, and it could, but
Yeah.
that's where they currently park now. They don't use Kippen Road that often. They seem to be able to handle it on Brantford and Sills, those 2 streets. But they have the capability of going north and south on Kippen Road on the paved section off the road.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Jeff, are you happy with that, or do you want to stop?
No, that's fine. I'm not familiar enough. not familiar enough with the property, and again, I support it. I think it's a great idea, so I gladly make a motion.
People, we have a seconder then for that, Councillor Fisher. Do that. The council approved the development of a new ball diamond for T-ball to U11 programming at the Seaforth Optimist Park, subject to final design, costing, and any required approvals. Any other discussions, comments? All those in favor of that? That is carried. Thank you very much. Now we're down to correspondence. Seaforth BIA 2026 Summerfest Road Closure Request. So 18, need a mover, I guess, and a seconder. Move that around, Councillor Rath and Councillor Stefan. That the Council of the Municipality of Huron East has no objection in regards to the Seaforth Summerfest Road Closure Request. Comments or questions on that? All those in favor? That would be carried. Everything. So I think we're down to council reports. A couple of things from the county. Our county council meeting last we had was May 20th. Dr. Paul Bradford, the medical director, presented the medical director's accreditation award from base hospital to two Huron County paramedics, Sam Barlow and Judith Hess. This award recognizes paramedics who demonstrate exceptional clinical care in a pre-hospital setting during a specific patient encounter. I believe the one that was mentioned to us was they were attending a scene where there was an infant in dire need of care, and or something like they were on scene and gone, packaged and gone in 8 minutes. So they were recognized for that particular one there. So we accepted a tender for the expansion of the Huron View parking lot. We passed a motion to reappoint the CAO Megan Ward to the board of directors for AMO. And we leased a room to the OPP in the courthouse. Up until now, the OPP didn't have a dedicated space. They currently use an office included under the Minister of Attorney General's office. The lease starts at $26 per square foot, and this office is 741 square feet. So that's everything I have there. Any questions from that? If not, we'll move along to other boards, committees, and meetings, seminars. Councillor Chartrand.
Yeah, I have a couple. I had the pleasure of attending. A bunch of donor groups got invited to go to the Seaforth Community Hospital. The hospital foundation put on a donor walkthrough and had lunch. So I went there as representation from the Seaforth Development Trust. It was quite the thing to see. They took us all through the hospital and brought us to where equipment was bought, specialized equipment that was bought from the donations that the community had donated, whether it's through the Radiothon or other organizations donating. The Hooter baseball team that donated $27,000 again this year. So they took us and showed us, and each manager of each division did a presentation and explained what that piece of equipment did and how important and how valuable it was, and thanked all the groups for coming. So that was a pretty good day. There was members there from the Lions, from Optimists, from all different groups that are big donations, repetitive donations. So
Good. That'd be excellent.
yeah, it was
Real eye opener.
Wow. And I can't think of the gentleman's name from he comes here now and then to do a presentation from the Huron Perth. Andrew was there as well and did a speech, and a couple other people from the hospital. So it was a good day. And last Friday, I attended a meeting in Owen Sound. It's the first time the new Lake Huron region, which is now one of 9 of the conservations. So we felt that it was time for those 6 conservations that make up that region meet. And basically we just brainstorm things that we want to see and suggest when the actual transition meetings start. We all want to be on the same page, these 6 particular conservations. So it was a good start. We came up with some great ideas that we're going to recommend. For example, they talked about putting these watershed councils in place because they want to have community input. So one of the things that we're gonna ask for is there's 6 conservations in this region. We want 6 water councils representing each of our watersheds. So that's kind of the things that we kind of brainstormed as to what we want to bring to that first meeting. We've resided to the fact, obviously, this change is happening. So the group wants to make the best of the situation and kind of push them where we want to see it go. Because we definitely don't want to lose our community supporters. We don't want to lose community municipal input when it comes to levies, that type of stuff. So that was a good day of a meeting as well to get things kickstarted. Ed was there from your conservation.
So Ed still, I think, wants to go on a speaking tour. He's still deaf against it and he wants to keep beating it down, which I encourage him. He certainly knows his stuff. So
He does knows his stuff, but unfortunately, they've already passed the bill to, forward. So all we can do is make the best of the situation.
I think they were, if I may, they were talking at Maitland Valley at their last meeting too. They were trying to push for a federated system or model,
We talked about that.
whereas we would keep ours office right now in Roxeter, because Ed and Phil both are concerned that, and I guess it's Ernst and Young, the accounting firm that's developing the playbook for this whole thing we're trying to do. But they're unaware of our population of even Mennonites, you know?
Right.
Because I think what they're hoping that if you need a permit, you're just gonna go online and apply for your permit and get it. But whereas, they don't recognize that we have Mennonites and, that maybe some do have computers, some don't, even some regular people, like some older people don't have. And so it's not, they can't do that on that, where if we could keep that office in Roxeter, at least you could show up there and.
Well, even the minister and all the pre-meetings told us, it's business as usual, your office is gonna stay open, and that part of our conversation on Friday was, you want the public to come into your front counter. A lot of times when they meet with our staff, their conservations, yours and ours here, Maitland and Sabo, a lot of times sitting down, having a coffee, going over their plans, they can resolve the issue right there and not even have to put a permit in because it's one-on-one, right? So, there's a lot of work to do, and this transition is not gonna happen in a year. It's gonna be over 2 or 3 years, but all the groups for the 9 regions got to get their ducks in a row when it comes to these transition meetings, because that's where we're gonna have our final say as to how the setup's gonna be.
What we're concerned with too is basically, I think our last meeting at Maple Valley is in October. There's no more meetings after that. So what happens between then and February?
Well, they told us, one of the things that we're doing at the Sabo, and I think other conservations are, we're actually doing our 2027 budget now. I'm gonna present it to council before the elections, because we want that group to do that and this group. So,
And I believe that we're required to do that. I think you're right.
Even though this thing takes over in February 1st, again, they keep on telling us, yes, business as usual. They've said that I don't know how many times, at every meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So time will tell.
It's very disheartening when Ernst and Young sound like they met with some of you people, but they didn't even turn the microphones on. So they didn't. So it was a one-way conversation.
I went to the meeting in London a couple of months ago, and I mean, it was heavy duty. Every conservation was up there saying, what is it you want to fix? Give us a clear road of what you want fixed, and we can do it, right? But they went ahead and did it anyways.
Thank you, Ray. Any other boards, committees they wish to speak to? A request by members. Councilor Chartrand.
I have a request, for our next council meeting, I'm requesting a report and update on the Mark Steppen development out on Front Road by the golf course, in line with where we're at with McPherson and their stuff that they have to get done, and the agreement that was sent to Mr. McPherson, who we agreed to at a council meeting here months ago, that hasn't signed yet. So I want an update for all of council and have some discussion about that. Because we're holding up townhomes being built.
Okay. Commissioners, you good with that? Yeah, good. Anybody else have any more requests? Seeing none, down to notice of motions. So pursuant to Councillor McGrath's request at the regular meeting of council dated May 12th, 2026, the following motion was hereby presented for discussion. Whereas Seaforth fire siren has been removed from the pole at Huron East Town Hall. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve the installation of the Seaforth fire siren at the Seaforth Fire Station and direct staff to take the necessary steps to complete the installation and restore it to service, sorry. CEO Rudy, you'd like to speak a few words?
Yeah, just before we open up the discussion for all of council, I just wanted everybody to be aware of some of the implications of moving financial and some other ones that would be involved. So Steve has some notes that he can present for us as fire chief, just so that it helps while council's discussing the motion.
So I did go and get a price on what church to and I've been included hooking up the comms, so we still have to get radio coming in to set up the comms as well. So that's looking at around 1,000 total. Do that. My thing with that is we do have money set aside for renovations at all, but those are supposed to be renovations or money spent for renovations that could benefit the building. This is specific to fire only. And right now we're looking at possibly building a new fire hall down the road, right? So are we putting this in just for a couple of years? Now we still have to deal with the sound end of it as well. Health unit came back to us with concern about the sound being too much, so we have to figure out a way to tamp that as well. I think there's a little bit more than just putting a hole in the ground, hooking it up, and where to go again. So.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Open up the floor for discussion. Councillor McGrath.
Yeah. Yes. Just over Mexico. Just. I realize it's gonna cost to reinstall. But 99.99% of people want it, and 1% of the people didn't. And it was World Health Organization decibel level. Huge, to it. And then Festival Idol comes and says, well, we're not accept responsibility for the poles you're out there. But I think it should be reinstalled at fire hall. Yes, it's gonna cost money. I understand that. But the firemen want it. The firemen themselves want it put back down. So are we building a new fire hall in a couple of years? Well, not unless you're gonna raise the hell out of the taxes, I don't think you have. Hey, good out. So I think we proceed, put it up, and also there's gotta be a simple way to reduce the decibel level a little bit. I did have one fireman concerned that being put up with the fire hall, it's in one of the lower portions of town. The fire hall's property is lower elevation than where the county. His recommendation would have been to put it up maybe by the water tower. We own that property as well. So there is gonna be cost involved, I understand that, but the firemen want it. And most of the public wants it.
Do you want to make that motion? And let's get it on the floor then, and we can deal with it or not.
We promote that be reinstalled and put it in the operation.
That's your commission.
Second.
Okay, more discussion. Seeing Steve with his hand up, ready, we'll let Steve speak there first.
I just want to add one other thing too. We have a siren in Brussels as well. We reinstalled a siren here in Seaforth. It could end up opening that up as well. There's some that want to do that. And I don't think it's just we put up one and walk away from it. I think we should.
Thank you, Steve.
Can I just add that if we are gonna proceed with it this year, just from a budget perspective, this wasn't budgeted dollars. So just if we're going forward, if we can have a concept of where council would like to draw those funds from, because they weren't included in this budget to do that work. So just another piece of information.
Right.
Yes, Steve, what is the feedback?
I'm getting a mixed feeling. It's not 99%. There's definitely people that want it, but there's definitely people that don't care that it never comes back. We have cell phones that tell us when we're getting a call. We have pagers that tell us when we're getting a call. The days of the siren where a family runs down and takes one of the kids when you show up there, it doesn't have, it's not something that exists anymore. I would say. So, it's definitely a mixed feeling, but it's not 99%. I don't think to say that. So.
And my other comment is at the water tower area, that's a highly urban area there. There's lots of homes all around there.
There's gonna be homes no matter where you really put it, but there even.
Well, there's not a whole lot of homes by the fire pole that way compared to,
Right. Go on here, but I understand.
compared to with the water towers that you've got houses.
I'm just
2-3 blocks in there.
Nice. I said that the fireman's concern was that we're moving it to a lower elevation.
Yeah.
And even if they would have radio trouble. It takes some time, but that would be, we don't know what's the elevation difference, but I guess it's good.
Steve.
Talks some days. We are pretty forward, hopefully, fixing all of our radio columns. It's supposed to be a 26-27 project. So any worries about radio comms and malaria should not be a problem after the summer. So that's not, shouldn't be an issue.
Any other comments from Councilor Dion?
How do we mitigate, the health unit? Like, what kind of cost will there be in silencing this thing?
To be honest with you, we took it down, it disappeared. It went into someone's place. I haven't looked at it, I haven't really researched into that much. I just spoke with the electrician so far. Like I said, there is gonna be cost, above the 10,000 that we're looking at. To fix this up to work compliant. So.
Just one more comment. I know that it maybe warns people, if you don't have your radio up and your windows up, you might hear the siren, but you also create those that like to chase the fire truck also, which is a very big obstacle.
Councilor Shark.
I think before we actually vote or make a decision on this, we should get a downtown quote as to what exactly it's gonna cost. Whole installation, retrofitting the pointers or the siren itself to lower the decibel. Is there any other fees to connect to all sound that actually triggers it?
Yeah.
I think we should get a full cost as to what it's gonna cost to do it.
Would you like to table it then? Sorry. Can we get that information? We have a motion here on the floor right now. So we either gotta deal with that or table it so you get your information you're looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
It's up to yourself. Councilor Stepler, you had your.
Yeah. How do I want it? It's not in budget. It's over, if there's so many different ways you can lean on this thing, how you want it. Getting information, I think is adequate. We don't want to get caught with $100,000 bill. As long as it can get put to rest right away. Like, I know we don't have a council meeting the next time. But I also think we have to trust staff. And, Steve, I'm hearing you don't think it's necessary.
Well, let's look at what we're possibly doing with firefighters. If we're looking at possibly building a fire investigation in a couple of years, why are we spending money on something that it's taking about a couple years?
Well, because I'm one. And that's why. Now the side is where do we draw the funds from? And then we've been sitting on a renovation for the Seaport Fire Hall for 2 tax years now. So are we going to actually go ahead with some of these renovations, or are we still waiting to hear this proposal coming back with EMS and all? Like, we're juggling a whole bunch of balls right here and playing it on renovations. Yeah.
If I can speak to that, I did answer to, I think, my video about that. We got into some renovations on that building and we found that there's maybe some more issues that we have to deal with that are a lot bigger than what we budgeted for. Money further, so, we kind of hold off, let's see what happens here. It has to do with drainage around the building. We have water running in the front doors in the winter time, so unless you fix that problem, which you not fix with what we budgeted.
So we have surplus money in the budget now.
Sorry. Good to deal with water and just coming in the front door. Sorry, so.
Range it out. Any other questions? What's your desire, council? Do you want me to call the vote or are you looking for something else?
I would like to table, but before we call a vote, we actually get a good estimate of cost.
If I may, I just feel they're two different requests or asks. So if from an administrative or, sorry, Megan, I'm gonna take your clerk hat here. If we can call the vote to what's on, because I feel like it's not tabled, we're asking also for something else. So it's more of a deferment and a report that we'd be asking for if this were to be defeated. So that's kind of the
Yep, that's
procedural guideline I'm kind of
okay,
thinking
thank
of.
you. That's fair enough. So you heard your options there. Everybody's had their say. I'll call the vote now.
Do we have a second?
I think so. I think Bob's second. Larry gets after the main motion. All right.
Your remote tabling?
Or no, I don't think so. Larry, I'm gonna call the motion. Put it up. Okay, yes. I think we'll deal with that first and then we'll move from there then. So. All those in favor of that? Those opposed? That is defeated. Bob, that's 3-2 the rest in defeat.
Thank you.
So there's no need for me to table it, because the motion's defeated.
That's correct.
However, if you wanted still something else, like then you're,
Good. Ready to move on then? Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for the conversation. Next, we're down to bylaws. I need a mover and seconder for the first one, please. Councillor Roby and Councillor Chartrand. That it hereby be resolved that bylaw 23, 2025, a bylaw to provide drainage works on the Smith Municipal Drain be given third and final readings. All those in favor? That will be carried. Need a motion for the next one, please. Councillor Dalton and Councillor Morrison. That it be hereby resolved that bylaw 56 for 2026, a bylaw to temporarily close Main Street and Gullock Street for the Seaport Summerfest event. All those in favor? That was carried. Next one is to confirm our proceedings. Councillor Newell, looks like, and Councillor Deal. That it be hereby resolved that bylaw 57, 2026, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council be given first, second, third, final readings. Signed by the deputy mayor and clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed here too. All those in favor? And the final one, who wants to get out of here? Councillor Fisher and Councillor Chartrand. At the time now being 7:18 p.m. The regular meeting now adjourned until June 9, 2025. Probably 2026 at 6 p.m. All those in favor? That is carried.